If you guys were bank robbers and pulled off a heist with a cool $1 billion, what would you even do next? Most people would probably be daydreaming about how to blow all that cash. But these robbers, after scoring that mountain of money, actually sat down and plotted another heist just to put every single cent back where it came from. Are they just robbing banks for kicks? Or is there some crazy scheme hidden behind all this? Everything starts with these 4 pro thieves putting together a bold plan, each with a role that nobody else can fill. Leading the pack is Zhang Beichuan, the mastermind who plots every detail like he's directing an action flick. And there's Wen Hao, the martial arts expert. He's the undercover muscle who blends into the bank's security team, ready to strike if things go south. Uncle Bin is the master of disguise. He can transform in a heartbeat into the bank manager to snatch key cards and break into the vault area. Behind the screens is Xiao Gao, the genius hacker, providing remote support to infiltrate the bank's system and help the team unlock everything. This crew didn't just strike out of nowhere. They were hired by an organization to steal $1 billion in charity funds from Guangxi Bank, where Chen Haishui is the manager. This donation money was supposed to go to projects helping the poor. To get into the vault, Chuan's team dug a secret tunnel from outside the bank where nobody would notice. After many exhausting nights, they finally reached the bank wall and cracked it open as easy as snapping a cookie. Once inside, Uncle Bin and Beichuan quickly headed to the vault area. This place was protected by a thick web of lasers, but to them, it was just an obstacle course game. They put on their laser detection goggles and took turns performing flips and rolls through the lasers like circus performers. When they reached the vault door with their prepped key card, they opened it up and saw a massive pile of $1 million waiting for them. Stuffing all that cash into suitcases isn't easy. It took them quite a while to finish up. Right as they were wrapping things up, the bank alarm suddenly went off. Turns out it wasn't because anyone caught them, but because some drunk guy outside threw a rock at the security system. Luckily, Wen Hao showed up just in time, handling the situation fast as the wind, and their team escaped smoothly. The situation inside the bank was tense as a guitar string. The security team was about to walk in to check, and Wen Hao's team hadn't finished the job yet. Wen Hao glanced at the 2 guards with him, briefly thinking about using force to protect his brothers inside, but Beichuan quickly stopped him. He didn't want anyone losing their life over this job. To distract the guards, Beichuan thought about pulling the fire alarm but immediately shot it down because it was too risky. Then came the idea to cut the power, but he was afraid of raising suspicion. Finally, a brilliant idea hit them. Pour floor cleaner all over the floor. When the guards walked in, they started slipping and sliding like they were performing a circus act on ice. Wen Hao took the chance to distract them, helping Beichuan and Uncle Bin slip out safely. The plan was so smooth that nobody had even a shred of doubt. After finishing the money transfer, while Uncle Bin was busy planting explosives in the tunnel, Beichuan accidentally wandered into the staff room. By some crazy coincidence, he saw the workspace of his ex, Shen Shuwen. She was an employee at this bank too, but work is work. He quickly got back in the zone as the mission was almost done. A series of explosions went off and the tunnel was completely destroyed. Before they could even catch their breath with the loot in hand, Beichuan got hit with another shock. Xiao Gao had just eavesdropped on a call, revealing that they were actually just pawns for the brokers. Not only did they provide the key cards, but they were also secretly tracking them, and the order was out. Once the money was secured, they were to be taken out immediately. Knowing the gang's plot, Beichuan's group flipped straight to plan B, splitting the money so everyone could go their separate ways. Even with a massive fortune in his hands, Beichuan didn't really care for it anymore. He let everyone split it and quietly walked away. At the same time, Shen Shuwen's account suddenly got a $30 million deposit. As a bank employee, she thought someone had made a mistake and planned to clear it up the next morning. But when she got home, she was stunned to see Beichuan, her ex-boyfriend she hadn't seen in 5 years, standing at her door. Before she could ask a thing, Beichuan dropped a bombshell. He was one of the guys involved in the bank heist, and the target they robbed was actually her bank's money. Even worse, the manager, Chen, was the actual mastermind who hired them to rob his own bank just so he could clean house and cover his tracks. After that, he was going to frame Shen Shuwen for it. He had moved a huge chunk into her account to serve as evidence for the cops. Even hearing every word, Shen Shuwen felt like she was just watching a high-stakes action movie. Instead of panicking, she immediately gave Beichuan a few knee strikes to wake him up. She didn't believe what he was saying, so she ignored his advice and went inside. But right then, a hitman in black appeared, targeting her for an attack. Beichuan jumped in just in time to block the blow. Even knowing he was no match, he didn't hesitate to charge the enemy for the safety of the girl he once loved. In a reckless moment, he grabbed the hitman tight and pushed him off the balcony, giving Shen Shuwen a chance to escape. As soon as the team's car arrived, they took her away safely. Somewhere else, manager Chen flew into a rage when he found out his goons not only failed to kill her and get the money back, but also lost a man. He ordered his men to get that money back at all costs and take out Beichuan's crew and Shen Shuwen. During the meeting with the group, Shen Shuwen slowly began to understand the whole story. Turns out the manager's plan was to use the name of a charity donation and then rob back the very money he donated. She was just a sacrificial pawn in his scheme. The whole group faced a tough call. If they put the money back in the bank, they'd be helping a bad guy, but keeping the money meant facing danger from the hitmen chasing them. Finally, Beichuan decided to return the cash to ensure everyone's safety. Even though nobody wanted to give up the money they worked so hard to get, the whole team agreed to follow Beichuan's plan. However, since the tunnel was destroyed, they had no choice but the only remaining way, going through the bank's main entrance to finish the job. This time, Shen Shuwen played a key role. According to the plan, she needed to enter the vault alone for an inspection, but usually a manager would go with her. So how to make sure that person didn't show up? Shen Shuwen revealed that if there was a sudden incident, that person would be sent to handle it. And so Beichuan's group came up with the trick of releasing cockroaches all over the bank to create a scene of chaos. Everyone in the bank would freak out, forcing them to call a pest control team. And of course, that team would be Beichuan and his buddies in disguise. The whole team got to work on prep. They turned their van into a pest control vehicle, bought roach traps, and gathered roaches from everywhere. During the prep time, Beichuan and Shen Shuwen got a chance to talk. She was shocked to learn the reason he suddenly vanished 5 years ago was that he got caught during a heist and had to go to prison. The old misunderstanding was cleared, and both were even more determined to finish the plan. The next day, everything was ready, but a snag hit. The manager reported that he wouldn't be checking the vault today on orders from the top. It seemed Manager Chen had guessed the money was missing and wanted to hide his secret by not letting anyone check. The team's plan was wrecked, but Beichuan quickly thought of a new way. Shen Shuwen had to find a way to grab the manager's attention. She came up with the idea of using a video of the deputy manager harassing her to turn him in, exposing his creepiness while getting everyone's attention. Right then, Wenhao released the roaches all over the bank. Even though not many people are scared of roaches, luckily the manager was terrified of bugs. He immediately demanded they call a pest control company. Xiao Gao quickly intercepted the call and connected it to Beichuan's group. Their fake pest control team showed up fast and got to work. Uncle Bin played the big boss role while the manager's goons were distracted, sneaking into the manager's office to grab data. Meanwhile, Beichuan was taken to the vault by Shen Shuwen. There were only a few minutes left to finish the job, but right then, the deputy manager suddenly appeared. Seeing Shen Shuwen, he was beyond shocked, thinking she had been taken care of the night before. Beichuan quickly realized he was Chen's lackey and signaled Shuwen to get out. As soon as she escaped, the deputy manager called his boss to report the situation. Beichuan ordered Shuwen to get to the car fast because he knew the deputy wouldn't let her go easily. Wenhao was tasked with holding the money for a bit, while Uncle Bin would retreat immediately after grabbing the data. When Shuwen ran down to the parking garage, she found the goons had recognized Uncle Bin's disguise and were about to grab him. She shouted a warning so he could get away in time. The deputy manager also blocked Shuwen, but before he could move, she countered him with a killer knee strike. Manager Chen's people, realizing there were intruders, immediately blocked the exits. Upstairs, Uncle Bin couldn't grab the data because they had swarmed in. He tried to run down to the garage, but as soon as he got there, he ran into the big boss. Just when it looked like there was no way out, Shen Shuwen suddenly roared in on a motorcycle with Beichuan on the back. The three of them sped off instantly. The goons chased them close behind, leaving the big boss and Uncle Bin to face off. The clash between Uncle Bin and the boss was so intense that when the goons caught up, they couldn't even tell who was the real one and who was the fake. The whole crowd stood there frozen until one guy decided to test them by asking the boss to say his name. The boss angrily snapped back that he had tons of goons and couldn't remember every name. Immediately, the goons got suspicious and were about to grab him. Right then, the glue on Uncle Bin's mask peeled off, showing his real face. But just as they were about to lunge, Xiao Gao drove up to the rescue. Outside, Shuwen and Beichuan were trying to outrun the gangsters on their tail, but luckily a car suddenly appeared and smashed into them, helping the two escape. That night, Xiao Gao, Wenhao, and Uncle Bin also made it back safely. The plan to return the money didn't just fail, they almost lost their lives. Uncle Bin, tired and worried, suggested they split the cash and everyone go home. He wanted to get back to his family and end it all. However, Xiao Gao and Wenhao thought that would put Beichuan in a spot. After all, Beichuan was the one who came up with the plan, and he had previously taken a bullet to save the whole team. So they decided to stick with Beichuan's direction. At this point, Beichuan and Shuwen also made it back to safety. He gave her money and a passport, advising her to leave for her own safety, but she wouldn't accept running away while everyone else was in danger. She insisted on staying to help everyone finish the plan. Not long after, the whole team started on the second plan with high determination. At the same time, Manager Chen was blowing a fuse because his goons couldn't get anything right. Right then, Wenhao went to find him and revealed he was a member of the heist crew he hired. Wenhao demanded he let his team go, and in exchange, they'd put all the money back in the bank. But Manager Chen had no intention of being nice. What he wanted was for the money to flow into his own pocket and for Shen Shuwen to take the fall for the whole heist. Not only that, he wanted Beichuan as an accomplice to make the story look legit to the cops. After After negotiating, Wen Hao went back but hid the fact that he met Chen and made a side deal from the others. The group was confident in the new plan, totally unaware that Wen Hao had an undercover deal. One of Chen's close goons tried to stop him, not wanting him to go through with this plan. In response, Manager Chen immediately pulled a gun and finished the goon on the spot, making the rest of them shake in their boots and just obey. This time, Beichuan's whole team decided to carry out the return plan by staging a fake robbery. They suited up in mass and raided the bank through the main door. After threatening the hostages, Xiao Gao quickly hacked the system and locked down all the security cameras. He coordinated with Uncle Bin to watch the hostages while Shuan and Beichuan went in to put the money back in the vault. In another corner, Manager Chen got news of the robbery, but was calm as if he were enjoying a play. He and his goons went to watch the action without a single worry. Outside, the police were deep in numbers, but Xiao Gao cleverly stalled for time while they used the sound of firecrackers from a nearby street performance to hide the noise of blowing the vault. This was the signal for Xiao Gao to let Beichuan and Shuan blow the vault with a special explosive called onion pancakes. Thanks to the blast distracting everyone, the vault opened, but just as they were about to move the money in, Manager Chen appeared holding Wen Hao tight. Beichuan was devastated realizing Wen Hao had betrayed the group, but in a fit of anger, Wen Hao shouted that he did it to protect everyone. Beichuan opened the bags he thought were full of cash, but inside was nothing but onion pancakes. Turns out, Wen Hao had secretly swapped the real money for pancakes and turned it over to Manager Chen, hoping to be let go. But the manager was a double-crosser. After taking the money, he still held Wen Hao hostage and threatened Beichuan. Beichuan was totally caught off guard by Wen Hao's confession. Wen Hao revealed that he had always been jealous of Shen Shuan because she took all of Beichuan's attention, making him feel left out. This info left the whole group stunned. Manager Chen couldn't believe his ears either hearing Wen Hao's confession. Before he could even react, Beichuan used his toy gun to knock the real gun out of his hand. Taking that chance, Wen Hao and Beichuan worked together perfectly to take down Chen's goons. After the lackeys were taken down, only Manager Chen, Wen Hao, Beichuan, and Shen Shuan were left. However, Chen still had a gun and opened fire on the group. Wen Hao bravely used his body to take a bullet for Beichuan, paying him back for saving him before. Unfortunately, Chen's gun had plenty of rounds and both brothers were hit and went down. While the group was still injured, Shen Shuan quickly stood up and used clever words to butter up Manager Chen to distract him, creating a chance for Uncle Bin and Xiao Gao. They both brought along a homemade onion pancake bomb to give Manager Chen a special gift. While Chen couldn't react in time, the bomb blew up, giving the group a chance to escape. The police heard the blast and saw the hostages running out, immediately rushing the scene and only finding Manager Chen and his goons in the wreckage. Everyone was arrested. Manager Chen, in a rage over being caught, tried to resist and threatened revenge. However, when the police opened his vault, they found a massive stash of $1 billion and a collection of precious watches that had gone missing. Manager Chen couldn't explain a thing because that money and the gear couldn't have crawled into his vault by themselves. In the end, he was just left pissed and helpless as all the evidence pointed against him. The next day, news about Wangxi Bank's charity funds being embezzled and Manager Chen staging a heist to cover his crimes shocked everyone. People only knew Chen was the guy behind it, but nobody knew Beichuan's team had secretly helped out and brought justice. With a perfect plan and slick coordination, Beichuan's group succeeded in putting that $1 billion back into Chen's vault without raising any suspicion. Wen Hao pretending to betray the group to make a deal with Chen was just a clever trap to lure him into letting his guard down. Even though Chen's goons caught on to the scheme, because of his arrogance and lack of caution, he couldn't stop the team's plan in time. Earlier, when they broke into Chen's office, Uncle Ben had sneakily planted a camera in a hidden corner to record the code and the vault's mechanism. When Wen Hao brought the money to the manager, he had no idea the goon receiving the cash was actually Uncle Ben in disguise, while the other goon had been knocked out and hidden by Wen Hao. It was all part of the pre-planned setup. Even though Chen and his men tried to stop them, Beichuan's group quickly escaped the bank through a secret tunnel they had dug earlier. Even though the tunnel had been filled in, thanks to the explosives made from onion pancakes, they were able to reopen the escape route safely. In the end, their plan was a massive success without any losses. Not only did they return the stolen money, but they also snagged precious watches worth millions from Manager Chen. Everything ended perfectly, and they left with the loot, leaving Manager Chen helpless and facing the consequences of his dark actions. This movie sends a message about unity, brains, and loyalty in a no-holds-barred war between good and evil. The main characters, though they didn't start off perfect, were always ready to sacrifice and stand up for each other, fighting for what's right. Through all the tests and schemes, the film confirms that while betrayal and greed might temporarily get the upper hand, in the end it's wisdom, courage, and friendship that win. Plus, the movie reflects the injustice in society where powerful people sometimes use others' weakness to do wrong. However, it's the people who dare to face the grind and fight for justice who bring about fairness, even if that road is full of hardship.